Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are making some garden salsa, some mango salsa, and some restaurant style salsa, but we are going to start right here in the garden. We're going to do some tomato picking. So as you can see, my tomatoes are very ripe and these are perfect for making salsa. So they have been ripening on the vine for a while now, and today is the perfect day to go ahead and pick all of these bright red tomatoes that are on the vines. Sun-ripened tomatoes are so delicious. If you've ever had them, you know the difference between the sun-ripened tomatoes and the store-bought tomatoes. They just taste so delicious, and some of the little cherry tomatoes especially have this really beautiful sweet taste that I absolutely love in my salads. But today we're going to pick some of the bigger tomatoes to make our salsa. Today we're going to be making my 3 favorite salsas, and for these salsas they're all going to use the same exact base. So for the base of these salsas you're going to need tomatoes, you're going to need onions, you're going to need cilantro, you're going to need lime, and some jalapeños. So that'll be the base of all 3 salsas. So I'm picking my jalapeños as well here in this garden. I'm growing some different peppers here in the back. So I do have some jalapeños that I've grown. You can also add in bell peppers. Here in just a moment, we're going to go inside and start working on these 3 salsas. And if you are looking for the recipes for these salsas, you can find all 3 recipes in the description of this video. So it's really nice and warm here in Texas. So I'm out here early in the morning before the sun comes out and really gets unbearable. But it is really sunny. As you can see here in my video, a lot of my plants are starting to die and the heat is really getting to them. Even though we've watered and we do get quite a bit of rain, it hasn't been enough for our plants. So a lot of our squash plants have also died and our green beans have also died. I'll be doing a garden update sometime this week. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel and you like garden content, homesteading content, and cooking, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you here. So we are still going to try to keep some of our tomatoes alive. Our peppers are still doing well. So I really think our garden is coming to an end, and I will be posting a garden update. So check back for that, where I will really show you in detail what we have growing in the garden and what is going on. Okay, so I've pretty much harvested all of the tomatoes that I'm going to need for today and the peppers and such. So let's go ahead and head inside and let's get started on these salsas. So here's everything that I picked today. As you can see, there's also like zucchini and things in there, but look at these beautiful tomatoes. They are so bright and red and they're just ready for salsa. Salsa tastes best when the ingredients are really ripe, so make sure that you pick the most ripe tomatoes that you have, the most ripe onions, and everything like that. So I had just harvested onions not too long ago. We will be using one of the onions that I harvested, the one that I harvested the earliest, which had already been ready and dried up for us to use. So we're going to use that one here today. I've already picked a lot of jalapeños over some time, and so I'm going to be using the ones that I had already picked a while back that I had in the refrigerator, and I'm going to store up the rest of them. So I don't like a whole lot of spice. You can kind of tailor each one of these salsas to your taste. So I'm going to be using about 1 jalapeno in each salsa. So for the garden fresh salsa, like I say, we're using a sort of a base for that. And then for my mango salsa, I'm adding in some mangoes. Here are the onions. You can kind of guess which one is the one that we grew in our garden. I'm going to speed up a little bit here of the prep work. I'm going to go ahead and cut up all of the onion. And so you're just going to want to finely dice your onion into little diced pieces. If you like your salsa chunkier or whatever, you can make it to your taste. I know I got a potato salad container there. I am using and reusing lots of containers. So if you see me using things like that, I really like to reuse everything. I don't think I've bought like actual storage containers in many years. I just reuse different containers that I get for other items. So there is the onion that I had grown in the garden. It was a huge onion and it is got this really strong smell. So I think it's going to be really good in our salad. Look at the color and the ripeness of these tomatoes from the garden. You can just tell they are so good. So go ahead and dice your tomatoes to the size that you prefer. I like my salsa a little bit chunkier, and so I like to have my salsa with some corn chips and just kind of spoon them on there. Here is the jalapeno. I'm cutting around the middle and just going to use some pieces of that. I don't like it too spicy, so I'm just using 1 jalapeno per salsa that I'm making. But if you like more spice, I would recommend you to use more. And if you like other kinds of spice like habaneros or something like that, go ahead and try that as well. For each salsa, I'm using a lime. So get yourself a nice fresh lime and squeeze it in there. That'll give it a really great taste. While you're preparing your salsa, you can do your salt and pepper to taste. And if you like a little sweetness in your salsa, you can add in a little bit of sugar to cut that spice or the salt. I'm cutting up some cilantro here. All 3 salsas will use cilantro. So go ahead and just cut some up. I've tried to grow cilantro in the past, but I haven't been too successful. If you have any tips on that, comment down below. For my mango, I'm just peeling off the sides, and I'm gonna go ahead and dice up the fleshy, good fruit part of our mango. This mango is really ripe and juicy, as you can tell. It's already kind of dripping all over my cutting board. So let's go ahead and just dice that just like we did with the tomato, about those sizes. And so this salsa is going to be fresh. So all the ingredients are fresh and not roasted or cooked. But for the restaurant style salsa, if you would like to, you can roast your ingredients and it gives it a lot more flavor. But these are just going to be the garden style. So now I'm adding in salt and pepper, and I'm adding in a little bit of sugar. You don't need to really add in a lot of sugar to your salsas. That's up to you, especially with the mango salsa. It already has sweetness from the mango, but it does create a good mixture if you want a really flavorful salsa. So go ahead and make it to your taste, and you can again find the actual recipe with all those measurements and everything in my description. Here is the bowl of the different tomatoes and all of the jalapenos and different stuff that we picked. They are just left over, and so that's going to go in my fridge. While I'm putting all that away, I'm also making the garden style, restaurant style salsa. So this one is going to be pureed. You're going to puree in a processor your tomatoes, your onions, and you can just chop these things up loosely because the processor will make it to the right size. And so you can go ahead and add in your salt and everything like that into the processor. And so I added in all the ingredients from that base into my processor, and you just blend them together. And this is what it comes out looking like, and it is so good, y'all. Thank you for coming along for the 3 salsas. These are my favorite salsas. Go ahead and give them a try.